There are no arguments in Franchiseville. Harsh words are never spoken. If there were, then that would mean some contract terms were broken. No need for courts or juries or public confrontations. Get it off your chest, return refreshed from the aisle of arbitration. Welcome back to part 2 of Silence of the Disease. I am your host and tour guide, Sean Kelly. I am the publisher of UnhappyFranchisee.com and the self-appointed bard and poet laureate of the wonderful world of Franchiseville. These are my opinions in these videos, well-researched, well-documented opinions, but still my opinions. And so if I get something wrong, or you want to have an alternative point of view, or you want to agree with me in that unlikely event, please shoot me an email at unhappyfranchisee@gmail.com or leave a comment below. And just so David Kaufmann is a little rightly embarrassed on this, his contention for leaving this stuff up there was, despite 2 affidavits, was that PIRTEK didn't have control over taking some of these down. So Jim Lager, he starts posting some stuff on LinkedIn, and Powell's replies in LinkedIn, he goes, "Oh, I'll take that down." He says, all you had to do was ask, and he took it down. Couldn't have been more evident that they could have taken this down and complied. But now on the regulatory side, December of 2020, the Federal Trade Commission, which is supposed to be regulating franchising and ruling it with the industry and looking for a review. How's it working? What's working, what's not working, and what needs to be changed, what needs to be enforced in the franchise rule. And so Jim Lager wanted to share his opinions, and he wrote a 3-page, very professional letter, and he didn't mention PIRTEK, he didn't name them. And as a requirement of the settlement agreement, he submitted it to David Kaufmann for review and approval. And Kaufmann refused to allow, and his reasoning was anyone with Google could instantaneously figure out that Lager was probably talking about PIRTEK. Now think about that for a minute. The reason that he denied him was because anybody with Google would discover the content that they had been fighting to get removed, and David Kaufmann had preserved. The following year, state regulators asked for public comment on a rule change that they were considering to stop franchisors from this get-out-of-jail-free card they had created, their attorneys had created for them to bar fraud claims by franchisees. And once again, they asked for public opinion, and Jim Lager once again put together a 3-page, very professional letter responding to those issues, did not name PIRTEK, and once again submitted it through David Kaufmann. And Kaufmann this time not only denied him from submitting his opinions, he issued a restraining order forbidding him from sharing his opinions. And this didn't sit well with Jim Lager, who is a military veteran and a believer in free speech, and it was sick and tired of being, how he felt, was bullied by these guys who are unfairly applying things to the franchisee and allowing the franchisor to have a pass. The FTC and state regulators are asking if there are any problems in franchising, and franchisees are being forbidden. They're telling franchisees, you can't talk about this, and you can't submit to federal or state regulators. And this is even in some of the boilerplate contract or settlement agreements that I've seen that specifically say you can't tell the government, talk about your what happened. And all of this back and forth that I'm describing would not have come public, except that Jim Lager refused to go along with this anymore. But these attorneys in my opinion, it's Joblove and Kaufmann, these franchisor attorneys, who have an overall vested interest in keeping negative opinions of franchisees away from lawmakers so that they don't upset the tidy, unlevel playing field that they've created for themselves. And so this whole thing is blown up. It's going to hurt PIRTEK's reputation. It's going to generate more negative press. It's going to increase their legal bills. It's going to create unrest within their franchisee community, a lot of whom are still very loyal to Jim Lager. And for what? Did they really care whether Jim Lager had a couple of pages posted to an obscure corner of the FTC website or the NASAA website that they probably didn't even know existed? Did they really care? Did they really care that much that they had to have the advertorial still up there for 1851 magazine or for their SlideShare presentation, you know, on some obscure website? Was it really worth it to PIRTEK to have this whole agreement blow up, bad press and a ton of more billings, and throw this settlement agreement that probably cost them hundreds of thousands to get to that point anyway, just through the legal bills and aggravation? These franchisor attorneys, I don't think that they're all motivated purely by protecting the franchisor's best interest. They're trying to keep this negative opinions of franchisees away from lawmakers, state and federal, and keep the internet scrubbed of any sort of negativity, including mentions of disputes. Franchisor attorneys are subverting both the franchisor's best interest and the franchisee's best interest, and able to create this nirvana of illusory happiness of Franchiseville. Welcome to Franchiseville. All the folks in Franchiseville are happy as can be. They all own their own businesses. They live the American dream. Mr. Softy, Mr. Reader, Mrs. Field, and Dairy Queen. Every franchisee is happy and free, and they can't be fired, and they all retire with the life they always dream.